Okay, hello po. Hello everyone and welcome to the UPLB Museum of Natural History's Biodiversity Seminar Series. I am Venus Nadine J. Abakahin, your webinar host for today. And to those who are new guests here, we are glad that you have joined us, especially since this is our first webinar for 2026 and is also part of our celebrations for our 50th founding anniversary. To our regular participants, we thank you for your continuing support to our webinars. And before we begin, let us have a rundown of our webinar rules. So first, please keep your microphones on mute. Second, turn off your cameras. Third, use the chat box to raise any concerns. And lastly, questions directed to the speaker will be entertained during the Q&A session. I would also like to remind everyone that the whole activity will be recorded and later uploaded in our YouTube channel. So to officially start, I'm glad to introduce the speaker for today. So he is a graduate of the Master of Science degree in Forestry, Forest Biological Science program at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. He attained his bachelor's degree in biology, major in ecology from the same university. And since 2014, he has been documenting insect diversity in the Philippines and has described multiple genera and species of cockroaches from the Philippines. He has also co-described species from India and Indonesia. Aside from cockroaches, he has also worked on other Philippine insects, including Collembola, Embioptera, Hemiptera, Coleoptera, and Hymenoptera. He is a member of the National Research Council of the Philippines, Philippine Association of Entomologists, Association of Systematic Biologists of the Philippines, and Biology Teachers Association of the Philippines. Everyone, let's all welcome the Ibis Lord, Mr. Christian C. Locanias.
Hello, good afternoon. Let me just share my screen. Okay. Ayan. Again, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christian Locanias. Ito, hindi. Nakamute, no? Yun. So I'm Christian Locanias and I am here to share to you what I have been doing with my life. My life. That's what I've been studying, which is specifically the diversity of Philippine cockroaches. So maybe let's see within the members of the group, who here knows about cockroaches? Can you uh, put a thumbs up in your reaction if you know cockroaches? Yeah. So of course, I would assume that everyone here knows cockroaches. Uh, who here are afraid of cockroaches? May thumbs down ba? Thumbs down. Put your thumbs down for those who are afraid or those who does not like cockroaches. Yeah, no, there's a lot, no? Actually, I could say that I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, because before I also do not like cockroaches. No? So, share ko lang, share ko lang. So, again, what are cockroaches? No? So, for those who are still confused, so cockroaches and, belong, of course, to the order Blattodea. No? So, the typical cockroach, along with the termites, are actually form the order Blattodea. So, they are generally depressed. Well, their body are generally flattened. They have chewy mouth parts, so that's why at least some of us have experienced being bitten by cockroaches. Does anyone here have the same experience? Maybe we can put a thumbs up again for those who have been bitten by cockroaches. Ayan, no? So there's a lot. I wonder why. I wonder why. And again, they have this very characteristic shield-like pronotum. No? So until recently, actually, termites are considered a different order. They come from the order Isoptera, but based on molecular studies and internal structures, they found out that termites are actually clustered within the order Blatodea. So nasa pinakaloob sila ng Blatodea. So hindi mapagkakaila na ipis talaga sila. So they are considered one of the oldest terrestrial insect group. So I think if I'm correct, the oldest fossil of cockroach was dated around the Devonian period, a little bit earlier than the dinosaurs. So they are ubiquitous. So they are found in almost all continents except for Antarctica. And there are currently around 4,600 plus described species worldwide. So yeah. So they're very variable in form. So we all know the typical cockroach shape we see here. So these are the flattened with big wings that could fly and jump off to you. There are some that looks like beetles. So they mimic beetles. There are some that especially those that live in caves have very long legs. No? And there are some that in a way resembles an isopod, I guess. No? So these are some of the wood-boring species. And cockroaches play different ecosystem roles. No? So many of us know cockroaches as decomposers. So they feed on decaying matter, feed on uh, leaf litter, and then they help in returning the nutrients to the soil. At the same time, they help disperse microflora that are attributed to further decomposing these materials. No? Some species are considered as herbivores. Some are considered as pests of root crops, especially the soil burrowing species. And curiously, some are actually considered as pollinators and seed dispersers. There are specific plants and specific cockroaches. So there are some plants that have evolved to be specifically pollinated or dispersed by cockroaches. So in the Philippines, we haven't actually seen this particular behavior yet or evolutionary partnership, but in some countries, specifically in South America, they have described some of these interactions. And specifically, additionally, there are some species that are prey. No? They serve as prey to other organisms, such as these whip spiders. There are some species of birds that actually feed on cockroaches, specifically during their young stage. So, yeah. So in the Philippines, we have roughly around 130 known species, and only 11 of these are introduced species. No? So the ones that you will find in your house, yung mga ipis bahay, those are actually introduced. So hindi sila taga Pilipinas. So they do not naturally occur in the Philippines. No? And of these, 73 species are endemic. So ibig sabihin, they can only be found here in the Philippines. This is roughly around 56% of the known species, 56% endemism. And most of these species can only be found in specific localities, a particular mountain, a particular area, or a particular habitat, specifically the cave-adapted species or the troglodytes. So mostly they can only be found in particular cave systems, no? Which leads to them being restricted or their distribution being very restricted. Now, cockroaches, or in terms of discovery, in the Philippines, I I have created this timeline which separates the discovery into three distinct parts. So first would be the early discoveries, which uh, spans from 1861 to 1915. Wherein we recovered or described 73 species to be occurring in the Philippines. So actually, the first species that was found in the Philippines was described in 1861. So it was a very long time ago. And this species actually we thought that it has not been reported ever since, no, since its original description. But fortunately, during our surveys in different caves in the Philippines, we have recollected this species, Ergaula caroncolligera, which we are now redescribing, and we will be publishing them. So from being uh, not seen since its description, we actually found it to be quite abundant in certain areas. So during this period, the early period, most of the records were done by European taxonomists, especially since this is the part when the Philippines was still under the Spanish occupation. So we have some key papers that were described were published during this period. Was a paper by Stahl, where he described or reported around 19 species. This is actually one of the most one of the papers which describe a lot of Philippine species. And then in 1852, a Jesuit priest published a checklist of all the reported fauna then, including cockroaches. So this was done by Father Castro de Helera. And then in the early American occupation, a checklist by Brunner, 1915, was published. This is actually the first report. Brunner actually first reported the invasive or the introduced species such as the American cockroach, the Australasian cockroach, the other household cockroach that you often see in the house. So by then we can say that these species were introduced early on during the American occupation. And then we move on to the 1924 to 1998, which in a way I would like to call the Renaissance period of cockroach descriptions. So most of the authors here actually deals with global diversity. Medyo pa isa-isa lang yung mga descriptions or records from the Philippines. So despite being there a lot of species described during this period, so some of the authors actually they didn't go to the Philippines. They just based descriptions on old specimens that were previously collected. So this would include authors such as Francis and Louis Roth, which is in a way very famous in terms of cockroach systematics in the present day. Yeah. And then we move to the recent discoveries, which is around 2005 to the present, wherein there's 11 reported species here. So this is specific for local species, specifically some particular groups that can only be found in a particular island, or a particular group found in a cave. And during this time, there has been a lot of reclassification of known species. Also, we transferred a lot of species from one genera to another in order to sort out which groups they actually belong to. So we part. So this would be the bulk actually of this description of this this presentation, no? So I hope you can bear with me as I discuss or describe bit by bit some of the species that we have found, no? So cockroaches are actually closely related to Mantodea or with the mantises. They form the larger a group called Dictyoptera. And within Blattodea, we can be divided into 3 super families. So we will have your Corydoidea, your Blattoidea, and Blaberoidea. So remember a while ago I mentioned that termites are actually part of Blattodea. So they would actually be grouped here in Blattoidea, like Blattoidea. So they are actually much closer to another wood-feeding cockroach, the Cryptocercidae, but that family is not present in the Philippines. No? So yeah, the families presented here are only those present in the Philippines. So for Corydoidea, so I will show some photos of these groups, and some may yeah, some taxa that would have no photographs. So at least for this family, Corydeidae and Nocticolidae, we only have very few known species. So we have Ergaula carunculigera, which is the first species described from the Philippines. Then we have from the family Euthyraphidae, so we have Holocomsa debilis and Tibia sinex. So Tibia sinex actually is an interesting one because it was described in Cavite, and it is only known from a few specimens, no? And I think it was found in Bacoor, Cavite. And if you know Bacoor right now, it is highly urbanized. So medyo it's not as forested as before. So we do not actually know if this species still exists there. So yeah, so right now we haven't found any specimens of these, any individuals of Tibia sinex. Next, we have the family Nocticolidae, which contains most of the true cave-dwelling species. So these, like the photo you will see here, these are highly adapted to cave-dwelling, cave environments, cave habitats. High humidity, high temperature, very low light, very few food sources. So they have developed morphological and physiological adaptations in order to be able to thrive in those kinds. So for Nocticolidae, we have 3 species. Nocticola simonai from Pamitinan Caves. We also have another what we call lost species. So Nocticola sica, which is last reported in 1892. So the original description, 1892. So it was found only in a cave in Antipolo. And that cave, if our hypothesis is correct, that cave right now is highly degraded. So medyo it's very it encouraged a lot of tourists to go inside the cave. So it's not as pristine as it used to be. So these species may actually be extinct, but we haven't actually confirmed. So we still need to go to that cave. Next, we have Nocticola gonzalezi. This is actually one of the first species that I described. So this is cave-dwelling species from Polillo Island. Then aside from these cave cockroaches, we have your paper thin cockroaches kasi medyo manipis talaga itong mga species na to. They're very thin. So we have Gaputic pentax giting from Sibuyan Island and Homopteroidea maculata. So although for this one, we already found some individuals of this in Mount Makiling, but we just didn't have photographs of it. Next is the Blattoidea. Yeah. So for Blattoidea, we have 2 families. One is Anaplectidae. So these are a bit weird in a way because in some islands, they are quite abundant, no? Especially in Palawan. So these are quite common in the forested areas in Palawan. And I would say this is also common in Singapore because I visited Singapore a while back and we found a lot of these. But for other areas in the Philippines, especially in Luzon, this is quite rare. So far, we only have two known species. One was described from Mount Makiling based on very old specimens, and the other one was reported in 1954. So these are quite very small species that usually look a bit like beetles, but they are quite rare. Yeah. So that's Anaptectidae. The next family would be Blattidae. I think this one, a lot of us would be familiar because this is where the American cockroach or the household cockroach belongs to. So we have four subfamilies, Blattini, Hebardini, Stylopidini, and Polysosteriini. That's a lot of names. For yeah, so I just put here some photos. So for Hebardini, we have one species, Hebardina consina. So actually this one, we're still not sure if this is an introduced species, but this is usually found on open areas near farm lots, near farm areas. So Hebardina consina, I apologize because the photo is not quite clear. Yeah. Then we have Polysosteriini. So this is represented actually by two species of Melanozosteria. This one is Melanozosteria nitida, which is actually very widespread. So this is found also from Australia to parts of Indochina. So we're still not sure if it is native or it has been introduced, but I guess it is wide disperser or it can travel even across oceans. The other one, Melanozosteria soror, is actually, we're still not sure if it really occurs in the Philippines because we haven't seen any specimens of it, any records. Next, we have for Ostrostylopidini. So we have, this one is a recently described genus, Calcistylopyga from southern Tagalog. But there's a lot more undescribed species, especially in Luzon. Then we also have Dorilea. So this is quite common in Philippine lowland rainforest, even in some agroforest areas, but including coconut plantations. So Dorilea. We have two species of those. We have Bundoksha, which was also recently described. So we have two species of this. We have the Homalosilpha, Hobitoblata, Valaraucar, which are cave dwelling. So although they are not true cave dwellers, they are mostly found in cave. Yeah. So and then we have the genera that are common in our household. So we have Neostylopyga. Have you seen this in your house? This one with an ornate pattern. Yeah. So this is quite common and very smelly. They usually secrete sticky substance at the end of their abdomen, no? So, which supposedly deter predators, but along with that, they also release some kind of stinky substance. So I particularly do not like them because of that. Then we also have Periplaneta americana. This is the common household cockroach, which a lot of us probably have in their house. And I hope let us not keep them. Then we have Validiblata. This actually previously belongs to Periplaneta but has been reclassified as Validiblata. So Validiblata australasiae. So if you can see both Periplaneta and Validiblata actually resembles one another. And you may even get confused to which one is present in your house. No? Although some accounts say that Validiblata is more akin to biting people than the usual Periplaneta. So Periplaneta americana is quite common in urban settings, including and some cave environments, while Validiblata actually is more, I think it's more adapted to tropical conditions because you can even find them in agroforestry areas and plantations. No? So, so probably in terms of invasiveness, if we are going to consider invasive species, I would say Validiblata, specifically Australaceae, has more impact to our natural ecosystems compared to Periplaneta americana. Yeah. So I hope you're still there, still present. Next we have the Blattellidae. Yan. So these are also quite common in lowland forests, so specifically these groups, and they're quite specious. No? So these are the small, relatively small species that you will usually find in grasslands, in forest edges. So we have your Blatella, which includes the notorious German cockroach. So I guess I'm not sure if which one is more common in household, the Americana or Blatella germanica. So, but if you also have Blatella germanica in your household, can you show us a sign, the thumbs up maybe? This one is very notorious in or infamous, specifically in fast food chains. Yan. So, hindi ko na lang sasabihin kung kaninong saang fast food chains yan. But a lot of our, well, baka makakasuhan ako dito. But there's a lot of reports that says that some majority of the problems in terms of pest management in fast food chains would deal with Blatella germanica. And another problem that we are currently facing in terms of this is their ability to develop or their fast ability to develop insecticide resistance. No? So among the problems in pest management and pest control is the development of pesticide resistance of insects. So right now, specifically in other countries, Blatella germanica has developed a lot of these resistance. So pests or insecticides usually do not work on them anymore. So they're trying to develop more ways to control these species, specifically in household and fast food establishments. So Blatella. So aside from Blatella germanica, we have 4 more species, although we aren't exactly sure if these are also native in the country. Some of them you will find in open areas, grasslands, some along rivers that are streams with open areas. No? Yeah. Then we have Episimpluse. We have 5 species of that. But I think out of the 5 species, I've only seen 2 of them. So we may need to do more work on this. We have Hemipterocera, which is widespread throughout the country. We have 2 species. One is known from Luzon to Mindanao. The other one is known only from Tawi-Tawi Island. Then we also have Lobopterella. This is a widespread species. We have Parasigmoidella, Pseudotyrosocera. This one is a bit unique because it is common on areas of higher elevation. So sometimes around 800 meters above sea level and above. And they are diurnal species, so these are active on the day, during the day, and they like to perch on low shrubs. So you can find them on um, small plants, especially along forest edges. Then we have one species of Signella. So uh, if you would notice, a lot of these species would actually look similar. So they, even at the genus level, they have a lot of similarities, and you may get confused which one is which. So that's why we usually do not advocate identifying them based on images only. So there are a lot of characters that needs to be examined, specifically if you want to identify them up to the species level. So for most of these, you will actually need to dissect them. No? But for now, we are currently working to create at least a pictorial key to be able to help us and other researchers to identify these species. So that is to follow. So that's for Blatelidae. Next, we have Pseudophilodromiidae. So we have a lot of genus that we have no photos of. So we have Euhebardula, Luparia, Squamoptera. But for Nisibis and Pseudophilodromia, there's actually several observations in INAT. So indeed, I just did not took their photos, but yeah. So at least we know that these species still these species are still present in the country. So we have Nisibis, which is actually endemic to the Philippines, the genus Nisibis with only one species, and Pseudophilodromia. Okay. So for Pseudophilodromiidae, if you would notice, some of them actually looks a lot similar with Blatelidae, the previous family, which also makes it a bit difficult in identifying them. And the only difference is something to do with the male genitalia. So for most cockroaches, the male genitalia would have a hook, which is present on the left side. So for Pseudophilodromiidae, the hook is present on the right side. So it's a bit difficult to be sure to which family, unless you're very familiar with the group or with the genus. It's a bit difficult to ascertain to which family it would belong to. Uh, Uh, just a side story, I described Tagaloblata, I think in 2016. So when I was preparing the descriptions of this one, I classified it under Blatelidae because when I dissected the specimens, I mounted it on slide, the genital hook was present on the left side. So I finished the paper, I finished the description, and I assigned it to under Blatelidae. And then out of a sudden, I had an urge to dissect another specimen. No? To dissect. So I've already dissected at least 3 specimens. Then I dissected another one. It turns out that when I was mounting the specimens, I was mounting it in reverse. So nakabaliktad, flip siya. So the genital hook actually is on the right side. So the I had to revise the entire manuscript because of that. So that's just a side story. Share ko lang. Yeah. So also in this group, you will have your Pachnepteryx. This I would like to call the jewel roaches because they have a lot of intricate patterns, different colors on their body. And if you see later, I think I have another photo of this one in the latter view. It has a very beautiful pattern on its ventral side. Then we also have the Prosoplecta, which are the beetle mimicking species. So you have this one supposed to mimic a chrysomelid beetle, a leaf beetle. Unfortunately, natanggal yung ganyang left leg niya, no? So Yeah. And you also have this one here on the right side. This is also a Prosoplecta we found in Apayao last month. Last month lang ba yun? Last week. Early this year. So this one mimics another beetle family. If in a way, it looks a bit more of a buprested or a jewel cockroach, jewel beetle. Then you have your Balta, Margatea, Megamareta. So another well, not so fun fact, no? So for the genus Balta, Megamareta, Euchebardula, and Luparia, there isn't a lot of difference between these families, and a lot of the current taxonomies would actually prefer to lump them together. So pagsasama-samahin itong mga groups nito because at least based on the descriptions that are currently present, there isn't a diagnostic character to differentiate these four genera. No? So maybe this would be a work of someone else in the future. And it would be a very messy one because if you're familiar with taxonomy, no? So the first name would, in cases of synonyms, synonymous names, the first name that was established would be retained. No? But for this example, if I remember correctly, Luparia would be the first name, or is it either Hebardula or Luparia would be the oldest name, but Balta would have the most number of species placed under that genus. If I remember correct, there's around almost 100 species placed in Balta. So in case someone would revise them, these names would be given a new combination. So they would be transferred to another genera. So let's leave that to someone else. Perhaps someone here would like to work on this group. So feel free to do the work. So we have Pseudophilodromeidae. Next would be your Blaberidae. This one would be the larger cockroaches. And this is actually one of the most speciose family in the Philippines. So we have the Diplopterinae, which contains one genus and two species in the Philippines. So this looks more like scarab beetles. Then you have your Epilamphinae. Then we have two species of Oxyhaloinae, which are actually introduced species. So this is also, at least in some areas of the Philippines, you would find this in your house instead of the Periplaneta americana. No? So this one in particular, the photo here is the Leucophea madre, or the madre cockroach. This was, well, at least based on records, this was introduced first during the Spanish colonization through the galleon trade. So this was introduced, and later when the Americans came in, the Periplaneta americana in a way displaced this species. So you would find Madre cockroach less and less, and you have American cockroaches to be more abundant. We also have another species here, the lobster cockroach, the Naphita cinerea. So if you are familiar, or if you're familiar with the pet trade, so lobster cockroaches are the ones they use to breed, and they used to feed to fishes, tarantulas, other reptiles. No? Yeah. Next we have the assassin bug mimic cockroaches, Paranaphitini. So we have two species here, but I haven't seen any in the wild yet. So this one was a photograph sent to me. This is from Zamboanga. And if I remember correctly, there's an undescribed species that I have seen in a museum in Mindanao. So another work. Next would be the Panestini. So these are the large wood-feeding cockroaches. So you can usually find this one in uh, right now in secondary growth forest, and they usually live on inside the decaying logs and decaying trees. No? So aside from termites, you usually find this one. So when the tree is still fresh, hindi pa siya termite infested, these are usually the ones that you will find. Especially for very big trees that have been cut off or have fallen. Next would be your Perisperini. So these are also another weird group of cockroaches because most of the members here have the ability to roll themselves into a ball. And lastly, we have the Pycnocelini. So, yun lang. I have nothing to say about Pycnocelini. Most of these are burrowing species. So some of the pest species in agriculture that feed on roots belong to Pycnocelini. So you have your Pycnocelos sorinamensis, which is an introduced species. Pycnocelos indicus, which we don't know if it's introduced or it's naturally occurring. And we have Pycnocelos striatus, which are common in guano piles. So they like to live in areas where there's a lot of guano. Konti na lang, 19 slides na lang. So, in terms of taxonomy, that's majority of the families and subfamilies. So for Blaberidae, we have Epilamprini with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 genera. So we have Cirtonotulata, Dicoralampra, which is a species recently described from the Philippines. And this one actually, you can find this in the pet trade in Europe. So it's quite expensive. But share ko lang, I don't promote keeping cockroaches as pets. And you have Huintoniella, which similar to the first species described, we first considered this as a lost species, Huintoniella. But recent expeditions especially in Mount Tapulao, we found a lot of these species there. So in a way, it's a bit of a rediscovery of this species, Huintoniella. Then we have Morphnodes, a lot of Rhabdoblata actually. If you're going to ask me, Rhabdoblata is probably one of the most speciose genera in the Philippines. You can find them on almost everywhere except for strictly urban areas. You can even find them in urban gardens, urban forest, botanic gardens. There's a lot of species from the botanic garden in Baguio. In Mount Makiling, for example, so far we only have one known species, but there's, based on the specimens and the surveys I've conducted, there's actually around 15 more undescribed species in Mount Makiling only for this group. No? Then we have Hanina, Opistoplatia, and Stictolampra. So again, we although for Hanina and Opistoplatia, there are some observations in iNaturalist, but yeah, they still need to confirm the identity of those. So Opistoplatia, actually, we need to move it to, or at least the species present in the Philippines likely does not belong to this genus, so we need to transfer it to something else. Lastly, last na yan for the taxo part. For the Panestini, the subfamily Panestini, again, these are the wood-feeding cockroaches. So we have 6 species from Panestia, 1 species recorded for Ancaudella, but there's still uncertainty if the specimen label is actually correct. Because this species, if I remember correctly, the original, or at least the most of the species described from this genera does not occur in the Oriental region. So there's some doubts whether the species or the specimen actually came from the Philippines. No? And last we have Myopanestia and Salganea. Yeah. Yay! Ayan. So we will have a quiz. Are you ready to have a quiz for the taxo part? Yeah. Joke lang, hindi po ako I wasn't able to prepare a quiz for this one. But if you want, you can enroll in NTOM 140, where they will further expound these groups, no? NTOM 140. Yeah. Insect systematics or taxonomy. So, what else do we know about cockroaches? No, so throughout the, in a way, a 10-year work with cockroaches. So this is in a way a bit also of a summary. So there's actually several in terms of species richness. So Luzon actually is the most researched area in terms of species richness. So if you'll see in the list, Luzon has 62 known species, no? While followed by Mindanao with only 27. So that's actually a bit few. No, there are some islands that have no published records of any species. For example, Batanes, Babuyan. So we are now accepting donations for anyone who would fund us to go to Batanes. Then we have Tablas and Romblon, and surprisingly even Bohol. So there are no published records for Bohol and Panay, no, which is sad. So we are also accepting donations. And of the 130 known species of cockroach, 26 actually only have Philippines as the known locality. We have no known exact locality where from the Philippines it came from. And there's still a lot of surveys to do. Yeah. And I will just put a rant here. Mag-rant lang ako. So, almost in all presentations, in all biodiversity forums, the Philippines would always boast that it has one of the highest diversity of flora and fauna. And yet, a lot of the researchers that actually want to do these studies have to go through a lot of hurdles. May it be in applying for permits, in securing for funds, and other works that would na sumisingit yan. So we have to go through a lot of these hurdles, a lot of these trials to conduct biodiversity research. So hindi lang naman this not affect us at the present, but this has been occurring ever since. No? Although we understand naman the need for this system, this bureaucracy, but I hope there's a way to do it more flawlessly. What's the right term? Easier. Yeah. Especially we have the ease of doing business law. Wala lang. I just want to put that here. So rant. A short rant. Yeah. So there's a lot that we do not know about cockroaches yet. And a lot of the areas that we want to conduct studies, we want to study these organisms are actually under threat, no? And yet we do not have informations about these groups in these areas. Despite that, in terms of conservation, there are some efforts to include cockroaches and even other insects to the list of priority species or threatened species. No? So yeah, despite being ubiquitous, despite being found everywhere in the world, no, there are some species that are in a way more vulnerable to changes in the environment, no, which may lead to their potential extinction, no. Uh, in terms of IUCN, although there are some species that have already been listed, given their categories in IUCN, for the Philippines, there are no cockroaches that have been categorized or by the IUCN. Although we will try to submit some of our assessments to IUCN, there's a lot of missing information. That's why we need to do a lot of studies for these groups. Locally, though, for the Philippine Red List of wild flora and wild fauna, we have listed 2 species that are endangered. So if you'd remember a while ago, we were talking about cave cockroaches. These 2 species actually are the true cave dwelling cockroaches from Pamitinan Cave and a cave in Antipolo, which we still need to look into whether they're still present there or not. So a lot of these true cave dwelling cockroaches actually exhibit this would be vulnerable to changes to the environment, changes to their habitat, to their cave. No? So these are among the which should be placed in the priorities in terms of conservation. Some would also include the wood-feeding cockroaches, especially with the rate of deforestation that we are experiencing in the Philippines. No, so a lot of these wood-dependent species would also go extinct if the deforestation in its rapid rate would continue, especially with the effects of climate change. No? And I would also like to add the species that are, in a way, very colorful, very attractive, although there are very few of them. No? So these are very attractive to collectors and to poachers. No? Although, yeah, I would stop there. Yeah, so these are among the groups that we need to consider in terms of conservation. Although, of course, all species would deserve conservation naman. But yeah, there's a need to conduct more researches and studies about these groups, no? Especially with in terms of IUCN, one of their main criteria that they need is population, which for insects is quite very difficult to estimate. At least even to estimate, it's very difficult. And in the Philippines, we have very little information about these aspects of the life history of these species. And there's currently a lot of pending works to do. We have a lot of new geographic records, even new genera that are previously not known in the Philippines. We are finding them in areas that very surprising, even in Mount Makiling, which is in a way one of the more most studied areas in the Philippines, no, in terms of biodiversity, especially since UPLB is here and there's a lot of entomologists in UPLB. There's a lot of new records, just new records of cockroaches in Mount Makiling. No? We have a lot of species that needs to be described. And we also need to conduct a lot of field surveys, especially since we do not know the effects of the changing climate. So maybe these species may be gone. We always say that the species may be gone even before we discover them or we give them a name. And of course, with the advances of technology and advances in science, it may be time to include molecular work in biodiversity studies of cockroaches. Just for example, in the photo here, you can see a lot of cockroaches, cockroach specimens that look a lot similar, that looks very similar to one another. And when we dissected them, they're actually different species. So additional molecular work would actually provide additional support in claiming that these are indeed distinct and separate species. No? So we right now we have around 130 known species in the Philippines for cockroaches, but based on the specimens, based on field surveys, and I estimate that there's at least 3 times more species that needs to be described in the Philippines. Yeah. So there's, sabi diyan sa meme, there's thousands of undescribed Philippine EPCs. But there's only one Filipino epistologist. Yeah, but this does not, actually does not it's not limited with cockroaches only, no. So if you are familiar with insects, there's a lot of insects. We currently have around 25,000 known species in the Philippines just for insects. And a lot of these groups does not have anyone who works with them, who studies them. So if there are any of in our audience who would wish to study insects, there's a lot to discover. Yun lang, may hurdles, may minsan walang pera, ganyan. But it's a very rewarding work, very rewarding job. If you want to go to different areas of the Philippines to put your name in science books, so yeah, why not go to entomology? Naging recruitment. I'm recruiting. Wala po akong, I don't have money for this. But at least for your work or studies in college or so you can try to explore these areas. So aside from taxonomic or systematic studies, there's actually a lot more of research gaps in terms of Philippine cockroaches. So there's a lot that we do not know about them. So I mentioned a while ago, in terms of life history, how long before they reach sexual maturity, what is their lifespan, how do they feed or their mating behavior, strategies, mali pa spelling, wrong spelling. So in terms of biogeography, what is the extent of their distribution? Are the endemic species really endemic? Are the endemic general really endemic? So how are they related to species on nearby islands, nearby countries? So how were they able to reach the Philippines? Did they diversify here? Did they came from, let's say, from Borneo, or from mainland Indochina, from Australia? And this is a very interesting topic because the Philippines is, in a way, right in the center of these biogeographic realms. So it's in a way hot pot for evolution. So in terms of ecology, so we all know that they are decomposers. So, but do they have a more specific role in their habitat? How about species interactions? So in other countries, there are species of cockroaches that live inside the nest of birds, weaver birds. There are some species that lives in the nest of ants, of termites. So maybe we also have those species. We also have similar species to those. And in terms of behavior. So how do they prefer to live in the canopy? There are some species actually that are able to swim, to dive, no? I am afraid I did not put some photos here, but we have recorded cockroaches swimming on fast-moving streams, so which is very unique, very interesting. So there's a lot more work to be done, and maybe I would leave this part to students, to other researchers. So you can work on this. Yeah. If you are also cursed like me to study cockroaches. And I think that ends my talk. Oh yeah, no, 18 out of 19. And I thank you all for listening. And ipis be with you all. Sana dumami pa ang ipis niyo sa bahay. Joke lang po yun. And if you have questions that I may not be able to answer here, you can contact me through my emails. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much po, Sir Christian. Wow. So now po we may now move on to the open forum. So if any of you have questions for Sir Christian, you may use the Q&A function of Zoom. Nasa toolbar po iyon sa baba. Or you can raise your hand so that you can be recognized and you can ask your question personally po. So you can turn on your mic and also your video. Questions? Ayun. Ayan. First question. In your opinion, what is the biggest threat to cockroaches in the Philippines, Sir Christian?
Next question, please. Yes. What is the biggest threat? Well, probably the lack of information. Although it's not a direct threat to them, but of course, the less we know about, the less we understand about these groups, the more inclined we are to just kill them, to not or hindi na natin pakialaman. So kung ano man ang mangyari sa kanila, if we cut the forest, if we cut the or we disturb their habitats, since we do not know what is present in those areas or what are the importance of these groups, we won't bother knowing it all. So I think, yeah, medyo ano siya, pang Miss Universe na question.
Thank
Pang
you.
Miss Universe din yung sagot.
Second question po. In your opinion, is there a cockroach genus or family that should be prioritized in terms of their taxonomy?
I think no. I view them to be equally important. So maybe we should, I don't know, I do not want to put, to prioritize one group over the other. But there's a lot to work on, especially in the genus Rhabdoblata, in Alacta. So, yeah.
Okay. And next po, how reliable are morphological characters in distinguishing cockroach species in the Philippines? From Mr. Jorimar Magallanes.
Well, at the present morphological characters, particularly the male genitalia is the most, how would I use it? The most reliable characters to look into. So, yeah. The morphological characters are still very reliable, although other sources of information, such as molecular data, are also welcome. But right now, at the present status of studies in the Philippines, majority of the information we have is on morphological characters. So if we are going to add molecular data, then we have a lot of building up for databases to work first before we can fully utilize these characters or this information. Because if I remember correctly, there are very few sequences that are available online. So we need to build up on that first.
Okay po. Next question po. What is your favorite Philippine species out of the hundreds, if not thousands, you have seen?
Oh, pang ano ulit? Pang
Miss Universe.
universe ulit. I would secret na lang muna.
Secret?
I
Yes, sir.
like the Dorilea group very much because that's my master's thesis. But at present, there's only 2 species in that group. I also am very passionate about the Nocticola group. These are the cave-dwelling species because it's much easier to go into caves than to climb canopies where the Dorilea lives. So, yeah, these groups I am very interested on and I'm currently working on.
Okay, thank you po. Next po, are there any researches where they genetically modify cockroaches to decompose plastics and have successfully commercially used them?
At the present, I do not know any studies dealing with bioplastics on cockroaches. But the main concern here is, are these decomposers really degrading plastics or are they simply converting the bigger plastics into smaller plastics? So, yeah, but this is an interesting field to go into, especially with the amount of waste we Filipinos are producing. So, yeah, damay-damay tayo dito.
Okay po, another question. With your 10 years of cockroach research, do you think the public recognize Philippine native cockroaches more compared to when you started?
In a way, yes. Especially with social media, with groups, and the iNaturalist website or app. So if you will go into that, there's a lot of actually observations there that other people are identifying. So hindi na ako yung nag-identify. So I think slowly naman nabibuild yung knowledge on Philippine cockroaches. Lalo na yan si Turtle Tan na nagtanong. Ang dami niyang pinupost doon ng mga observations niya.
Nako, may pa-shout out.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Next question po. Can you explain po on why do cockroaches seemingly run or fly towards us even if we are swatting them or we're actively trying to escape them? Thank you po.
It's an interesting behavioral question. For some species, lalo na yung ipis bahay, they actually do not prefer to fly. Most of them would fly during mating season. So the females would release some sex pheromones that would attract the male. So in order to go to the female in a faster way, a lot of these cockroaches would simply fly. But I do not know if that has anything to do with them flying towards us. Maybe the female would release their pheromones on our clothes. So, but that's just a hypothesis, no? Still something to be looked into.
Okay po. Next question. Of the invasive species of cockroaches in the Philippines, what do you think we should prioritize in exterminating?
There's a lot of, I would say, things to consider in whether we are ready to exterminate this species. Although there are some areas actually that we can prioritize in removing them. No? For example, I've been to a lot of caves that have been dominated by invasive Periplaneta and Balidiblata, but uh, we still don't know what the effects of removing these species there would be, especially since these species have already been in those areas for a very long time. So we're not sure if the native species would be able to recolonize those habitats once we remove these uh, invasive species, or would there be an ecosystem crash since we are removing a lot of these decomposers in this habitat. So maybe it's another area that needs to be studied. Uh, and we
Donation.
and we are asking for donations. We will be accepting donations for this kind of studies.
Yes. Yes po, please. Harap lang. Yung
But it's
next
a very
question.
very
Apa.
interesting point of view to work on this, especially in terms of conservation. You know? So what would be the effects of removing this species?
Next po is, are there edible or clean or safe na ipis?
In terms of being edible, you can always eat cockroaches. Nasa safe na yan. But some can
Use of free will.
but on a serious note, cockroaches in some areas in Southeast Asia, they are using cockroaches as food sources. I think in China they have a farm. Well, they call it a farm, but it's a building that they use to breed these cockroaches, American cockroach, to be used for protein source, source for chemicals. If you are using makeup, there's a chance that there are insect fragments there, which are most likely cockroaches. There are some studies that, especially in China, where they try to look into antimicrobial properties of uh, gut of the gut flora of cockroaches. At the same time, for anti-cancer properties. But I'm not very well familiar with these researches. Na nababasa ko lang sila. So, yeah.
In relation to that po, may nagtanong na din about sa medical benefits of cockroaches. So may reports po ba of these benefits in Philippine native species naman?
As of now, wala.
Yun. Donation. Okay, next question po. Are there any roach species in the Philippines that are viviparous?
Yan, sige. So let us define viviparous for the benefit of the others. So viviparous means live bearing, no? Live bearing. And in the whole world, there's actually only one confirmed case of viviparity in cockroaches. That's the beetle mimicking or the scarab mimicking cockroach, Diploptera punctata. And we do have that in the Philippines. No? But it has been hypothesized that related species from that genus, Diploptera, would also exhibit this behavior. So we also have another one, Diploptera minor, which could exhibit viviparity. We also have what we call false viviparity or false live bearing. This is ovoviviparity, which is expressed or by a lot of our species, particularly the groups in Blaberidae. So what they do is they produce the eggs, they produce the ootica, and then once they have produced all the eggs on that batch, they would retract it. So hihilahin nila pabalik sa abdomen nila. And then the eggs will hatch inside the abdomen, and then live young would emerge from the female genitalia. So in a way, it looks like viviparity, but it's ovovivipary.
Okay, thank you so much po. Ito,
Weird.
another Miss You question. What inspires you to study cockroaches? Pa-share naman po. Hehe.
Yan. Balik tayo sa life history ko. Life history ko naman. Sinumbat ako. Actually, this is a bit an ironic. So I often say that I was cursed to study cockroaches because when I was young, I think I was in high school. I saw this National Geographic episode where there's a Japanese researcher who works with household cockroaches. His lab is full of aquariums or terrariums with lots of cockroaches. And if I remember correctly, even his house, he has these colonies of cockroaches. And I said to myself at that time that I will study any organism except cockroaches. And probably
The jinx.
and probably then the night after that, a cockroach wizard came to my ear and whispered some weird stuff. They cursed me to study them. So here I am, still studying cockroaches.
Inipis.
Yeah, inipis ako.
Inipis.
Yeah,
Sige.
but in a more serious note, no. So I think I found my first exposure to cockroach diversity came when I went to the field in Polillo Island. We went to the cave there, and I found the guano in the cave moving. So, and when you wipe or when you look at the guano, it's actually moving because of cockroaches. There's a lot of
Ooh.
cockroaches inside the cave. And when I came to my advisor to ask if he knows what that species of cockroach is, he said that it's my task to identify them because he's not sure. So I did research, I identified that species. And at the same trip, we also discovered the first cockroach species that I described. And I guess that sense of curiosity stuck with me, and that sense of and the curse took effect at that moment in time.
And after 10 years, hindi
I'm
ka pa din.
Yeah. Plus, I mentioned earlier, I get to go to a lot of different places in the Philippines. I even went to Apayao a few weeks ago, and I went to Tawi-Tawi just to join a different group, but I also photographed some cockroaches there. So, yeah.
Donations.
I was even able to go to Singapore. Maybe some of my friends in Singapore are still here, but yeah.
Okay, thank you po. Next po, do you have suggested readings or books about these species?
In terms of cockroaches, there's a book written by Ross, Willis, and Nalepa. It's available free online. It is I forgot the title, but yeah, something to do with cockroaches, natural history, something behavior, and there's a green cockroach on the cover. Yeah, so that's a very interesting book to read, especially if you're as an introductory lesson to cockroach diversity, behavior, natural history, and among other stuff. Yeah.
Thank you po.
And
Next
it's
po,
free.
ay,
It's free.
wow, hindi kailangan piratahin. Charot lang.
Yeah.
Next po, sir, are there genetic differences between urban and wild cockroach populations?
Perhaps maybe we haven't really looked into it. I think some researchers in other countries have tried to compare it, but it would depend on what gene you are looking at. No, if you're looking at the common genes used for phylogeny, I don't think there would be significant difference. But if you are looking at other genes, especially in terms of expression of behavior, of uh, physiology, there are probably some differences that you will find. But yeah, it's more on the molecular work, and maybe someone else would be interested in doing it.
Pinasa, charot.
Yeah.
Next po. Since they are the composers, what are their roles in wood decomposition or deterioration po?
Yeah. So we have a lot of species that actually are specialized in wood decomposition. So uh, in terms of so we have, at least in the Philippines, we have the Panestini group, which are responsible in breaking down large hardwoods, no? And then we have the termites, which are responsible in breaking down the other woods or trees. There's also some suggestions that since termites are a bit restricted to the lower elevation, so there are very few termites in upper elevations, which actually contribute to why we have mossy forest, no? That the decomposition there is mainly hacked upon by beetles and cockroaches, no? So yeah.
Okay po. Next po, in the mating season of ipis, you said doon sila lumilipad po. How about when binubugaw sila, bakit lumilipad daw? Pinapaas ng kuya ko na nakikinig.
Baka
Ano ba?
maybe they're nang-aasar lang sila. I'm not very, very sure why they like to fly. Yeah.
Okay,
But
next po.
maybe they're attracted to you.
May na-attract din sa kanya. Next po, what are your thoughts about the cockroach milk? May ganun.
Yeah. Cockroach milk, if I remember correctly, are produced by I think it's the Diplopterans that produce this, no? Also the beetle mimicking cockroaches. But I'm not really sure on what the molecular components of these cockroach milk are. But although we do have those species that they say produces cockroach milk, I'm not really sure if it's sufficient enough for human consumption, or maybe we can recreate it in the lab and mass produce it. But yeah, it's more of an industry work, I guess. But we also have cockroaches that feed, that like mammals, feed on bodily fluids of their mother. So if you remember the peel roaches, the ones that able to roll into a ball, the juveniles or the first instar nymphs of these have a sharp head, which they used to pierce the cuticle under the legs of their mother. So parang tinutusok nila yung kilikili ng nanay nila para to feed on their mother's blood. So it's a weird way to ensure that your offsprings have a food source.
Interesting. Sige po. Next, since cockroaches such as Blatta lateralis and Lactica dubia are heavily present in the pet trade, is there any chance that these species can colonate in the wild upon escape?
Yes. Actually, I'm not really sure if actually Blatta lateralis is now Periplaneta lateralis. So I'm not sure if Periplaneta lateralis are now present in outside the pet trade, but there's a high chance for it to spread like their relative. If I remember, there's a paper, but this is in somewhere in the Middle East, maybe, or in Europe, that Periplaneta lateralis are actually outcompeting Periplaneta americana. So it may the dynamics between these two species are not well defined right now in the Philippines, but yeah, it is highly possible for them to become invasive species once they escape from the pet trade. Yan. So, konting pag-iingat, responsible pet keeping, yun na lang ang may papayo.
Great. Po, next po, how do you pitch project proposals for funding with cockroach taxonomy, insect taxo in general? And do you have any tips for this? I imagine it would be quite difficult as the priority is always economic application.
In a way, yes. No, not just for cockroaches, but for other insect
Taxas,
groups, for other
Mhm.
taxas. Most of the fundings would always ask, what is the immediate product that will come out of this research? So, what is the ano yun? Tangible,
Economic impact,
economically
significance.
significant products you would be able to. So yeah, yes, it's quite difficult. Actually, I have not pitched any proposals dealing with taxonomy, cockroach taxonomy in general, or specifically for cockroach taxonomy. Because what we do is we do projects for arthropod surveys in general para sama-sama na din yung other groups. So it would our team would have a lot of people working on other groups. So when we propose projects, we make sure that we can involve a lot, so we can document as many as possible, no? Para hindi sayang yung pondo, hindi sayang yung punta doon. So yeah.
Okay, thank you po. Next po, sir, are there significant genetic difference? Ay, tapos na ata to
I think
kanina. Next po ay may evolutionary implication po ba if ever majority of cockroaches exhibit ovoviviparity or viviparity?
Evolutionary significance, yes, because I think there's only two lineages that actually evolved to exhibit ovoviviparity. Both developed this independently, one in the Blattellidae group, which are present in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the whole Blaberidae group, and within the Blaberidae group, there's only one lineage that developed for the viviparity, Diploptera group. So it is, in a way, a very important strategy, reproductive strategy for cockroaches, because by keeping the eggs inside the female, they would ensure that the eggs would have enough nutrients and be able to hatch properly without being preyed upon by other organisms. Because there are some wasp hymenopterans that specifically parasitize cockroach eggs. So maybe in order to prevent that, cockroaches have developed this reproductive strategy.
Okay, thank you po. Next po, hi Sir Christian. I have no idea how really diverse in the PhDs cockroaches are until you presented different families. I've just noticed almost all of them aren't colorful but a black and brown. Have you ever conducted a study behind this morphological trait?
Not really, but what I found is that since most of the cockroaches are nocturnal, so they really do not exhibit much color. So most of them, as you mentioned, are brown or black. But for those species that are diurnal, those that come out during the daytime, they actually exhibit a lot of colors. There was a photo a while ago of those with speckled yellows, blues, and reds. I've also seen cockroaches that are metallic green and what other colors? There's chrome and others. So I guess it's more of their whether or not they are diurnal or nocturnal. in a way to avoid predators or to deter predators, no? Some species mimics beetles because some beetles would release unpleasant chemicals when they are attacked or fed upon. So I think the colorful cockroaches would try to mimic them. Or they also exhibit or release chemicals. No?
Okay po. Last question po for today. Do you personally think cockroaches are more useful or more problematic based on what you've learned?
In their natural habitat, there's no question. They are very useful, very important in the ecosystem. In the household, at least in the perspective of humans, it's a bit more problematic. Although they are meant to feed on whatever food scraps or decaying matters in our house, they are, of course, known to spread diseases. So, in that perspective, they are problematic, but in their natural habitat, they are important.
Very well said, Miss Universe.
In
Okay. Thank you so much po, Sir Christian, for that very wonderful presentation. The audience really had a lot of learnings today sa diversity of Philippine cockroaches, the different issues that you also encounter when you do your research and biodiversity surveys, and also your arthropod surveys. And also, thank you also for encouraging our students and our audience to study cockroaches so that hindi na lang ikaw ang nag-iisang epistemologist. Yon, thank you very much. Congratulations po. And ito po ang ating virtual awarding of your certificate. Yan. Yan. So, this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Christian C. Locanias for serving as a resource person at the University of the Philippines Museum of Natural History Biodiversity Seminar on Ipis What It Is, a decade of studying Philippine cockroaches that today held via Zoom on April 29, 2026. So thank you once again po, Sir Christian. Let's give him a virtual round of applause. Info. Thank you, everyone, as well for your very interesting questions and for taking the time to listen to Sir Christian and his presentation. Yes. So ito na ang pinakahihintay ng lahat. So you can scan the QR code below and also type bit.ly/MNHBSSEVEL to answer the feedback form and receive your certificate of attendance within the following days. So hindi today, but for the following days also for some. Okay, so thank you again, everyone, for attending the first Biodiversity Seminar Series this 2026. And we also invite all of you to the 50th founding anniversary of the Museum of Natural History this coming September 29 to 30, 2026. So maraming salamat po sa lahat. Again, this session was recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel tomorrow or
to everyone.
again. Thank you so much po. Bye-bye po.
Attending everyone.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.